We've seen some lightning starts from not pole position as the clutch engaged exactly correctly. But this time, the top 4 absolutely got away together. They kind of moved like a synchronised swimming team off the side of the pool. Leapt on to go, but they're away and they're running, and we are completing the first half lap, and they've gone off pretty much in order.
Dory was taking the lead.
But that's changed already as they came around those first inner corners, and Balestri moves into the lead, followed by Gruber, followed by Griner. Grosskamp's been a bit of a sufferer. He's dropped down to 6th. In Tironi and Kurzbach. Peach not yet moving particularly for one place. Everyone settles down. Balestri will be happy to be out front. As you know, following is not particularly easy here. Aero, wash and vortices can make things more unpredictable when you're following a car. And Gruber is, well, 2/3 of a second behind. Now, whether that's because he's just dropped back to 2/3 of a second behind to make it easy on himself as they just ease themselves in. This is a very, very long final. People are saying it's 10 stops, maybe even be 12 stops, and 2 tyre changes. So the first 4 laps aren't particularly important, apart from not to eliminate yourself. So Gruber stays at 0.6 behind, and these two, who of course didn't race today, they qualified yesterday. Gruber straight through by being the winner of the points ranking, the top qualifier, and Balestri by showing off in the 6 laps of Superpole. But they're already gapping Griner, so whilst there's less than half a second between them, they've moved out to 2.3 seconds to Griner. And then there's a big queue of traffic. Griner, Tironi, Kurzbach, Peach up to 6, he's moved up 2, Grosskamp's down 3 and 7. Raiola, the big loser at the moment, drops from 7th to 11th. But I keep saying we're not even 2 minutes into 45 minutes, so it's all about settling down. And the strategy to play these long finals is so different in Nitro 1/8 racing than anything else. You've got so many short sections. Your endurance race is broken up into tiny 4-minute chunks. Now, it's then, I think, probably broken up into 15 to 20-minute chunks where you're also going to change tyres. So, lots of strategy, Frank, that they all have to think about. And there's a lot in the minds of drivers, more than just going around the circuit.
Oh, definitely, for sure. I mean, these two, the guys leading the race now, Balestri and Gruber, they were trading paint so much in the touring car race in Sicily in the main final, and it is absolutely not surprising to see them just leading the charge away, and Balestri seems to be just pulling away from Gruber just ever so slightly now, almost a full second ahead than the last time they came across the loop.
Yeah, he's getting about 1/10 of a second a lap at the moment, which is probably just he's settled in, he's in the stream. That time round it was 1800s he got there. I think it's a case where he's, the car's in, it's now balanced, he's taken off the top level of the tyres, things are up to temperature, and now he can work this first 4-minute section and the next 4-minute section, then start thinking about what he's going to do about tyres, where it feels. I'm sure that the tyre changes are not set in stone. Just don't forget, they get a good look at the tyres every time the cars come in. The track temperature has changed. That doesn't tend to affect wear that much. The wear is very much a pure friction physical thing. It's not too badly affected by temperature. We're certainly not the small changes there'll be in the track temperature here, 5 or 6 degrees. Obviously a freezing cold temperature, and you might get cold shear. But so wear is more a function of distance travelled than anything else.
First pit stop is in. Can't see who it is. It's Ian Lacey doing the tire change. Gillis is in.
That's quite early.
Out, no dramas. Balestri's in and Gruber.
So they're all. That's 4 minutes exactly now. They've come in on that 4 minute, dropped down. Have to say that looked like an advantage to Balestri from the stop of a couple of tenths. It was 1.44 last time around. My guess is that was slightly quicker for Dario. So Dario's team can give themselves a pat on the back for the first set of pit stops. Let's see what the gap's gone for. 1.144. Yeah, it's half a second faster. So Balestri with the Infinity chassis, working some times during that first thing. Let's see if we can drop back perhaps to 3rd and 4th, which is Weidling and Griner. So it'll be the bright pink of Griner chasing up the bluey of Weidling. There we are.
Just at the end of the main straight, coming across the finish line.
In fact, I've been caught out by Weidling. Sorry, Frank, I was caught out by Weidling's going long again. So because he's going long again, he gets his kind of inverted commas false position in 4th place, so he's not third. But drop back one card, Jude, because that is a genuine battle, and that's between two of the stars of this class. It's world and European champion Simon Kurzbuch fighting world and European champion, not the same time, but different years, Robert Peach. So two of the behemoths of racing. Kurzbuch, who's I think it would be fair to say hasn't quite reached the heights of his 2018-2019 results in the last couple of years, gone through some chassis changes and everything else. Peach had a few years away and then came back spectacularly last year to be runner-up in this European Championship we held at Valencia. These two battling away. You can obviously see the gaps in the top right-hand corner between our leaders. This is the closest battle on the track, and it's the battle for 4th and 5th.
Of course, both of these. Oh, Robert gets past in the Omega.
Yeah, Robert's moving forward, and Griner's not much further ahead actually. So Griner, so 3, 4, and 5, getting closer. Dario continuing that 0.1 of a second pull each lap. He's now 2.1 ahead. But this 3rd, 4th, and 5th battle, or basically the people who raced today battle against the people who qualified straight through battle for 1st and 2nd, is being hot up. Because certainly I would say visually, I don't really agree with me, Frank, it looks to me like Robert is gaining on Dominic.
He definitely is. He's pulling away. It looks like Kurzbuch was just the cork in the bottle for him, and he's visibly closer every sector to Dominic.
Mugen Secchi chassis for
Robert and Kurzbuch.
So Kurzbuch, and what is Griner on? Is he on the Capricorn?
He's running a Capricorn.
So lots of different chassis. Obviously, there's been kind of a standardisation of the overall concept. There are little divisions left and right. You've got X-ray chassis. You've got other manufacturers as well. Obviously, Shepard coming back from a complete rebrand and repurchase. But look at Peach. My gosh, Peach has got some real pace. Robert is the fastest man on the track at the moment. He's a 10th of a second faster than Tony or Dario. So he is the fastest man. Unfortunately, he's 8 seconds off the lead nearly. I don't think Griner's going to let him pass. But Robert absolutely in the sweet spot with that chassis at the moment. These two, of course, who raced for the European Championship last year. And now they're racing at the moment. There's a long way to go to the bottom step of the podium, going onto the main straight as they are turning their 24th lap. In through the Omega.
Coming up on the 37-minute remaining mark, and Gillis is in once again.
Yep, behind.
And we have a tire change.
There's a problem already.
Yeah, right side tire change.
One side of tyres for Robert. So Robert just took 2 tyres then. So already tyre changes. Robert's taking 2 tyres only. And that's after 8 minutes.
Griner's into pit. No tire change.
That's a really interesting thing. Whether you felt the car was going off, given that it was the fastest car out there, I can't believe that. But why you would change 2 tyres after 8 minutes? Given the fact that they've all worked 20 minutes, there's the 11 car in the pit. So Balestri leads by 2.1. Griner a long way back now, 30. I wonder whether Balestri's not been in for his stop.
Right side tire change for Gruber. Sorry, Nick.
No, it's fine. No, that's the sort of information you're more than welcome to shout over me, because that's the stuff that I can't give you because I'm 900 miles away. Down goes Gillis. Everyone's now running through, but Balestri's running very, very long. He's got a 13-second lead, which means he hasn't gone into he hasn't stopped, or he hasn't changed, and everyone else has. It doesn't take 13 seconds to change 2 tyres, though. So just wondering, Balestri stopped, but he was 5 seconds faster in his pit stop than Gruber. Hence the reason, obviously he didn't change and Gruber did. So it's now 6 seconds the lead, and Gruber and Griner are very close together. So when you find Gruber and Griner, so look for that bright pink car, Jude. That's not the one. So it's the all-pink car for Gruber and Griner. Sorry, Jude, you're absolutely 100% correct. Ignore me from my end. The cameraman, I should have learned by now, the cameraman by this point of the event is always way better than I am. But, you know, I let my basic commentator's arrogance take over. So, yeah, so it's pink and white against pink, Gruber and Griner. Now, Gruber's been under no threat from anyone else. He did take 5 seconds longer in the pits than Balestri, but we think he did right side tyres. So the question is, because you tell me that Griner did right side tyres as well, Frank, so Are we going to see a tyre change next time round from Balestri? Is it a case where they're going to run like 3 sets of right sides to 1 set of inside? You got any insight on that one, Frank?
Well, Tilo was telling me that they're probably going to do one right side change and then one full 4 tire change.
Okay.
But it seems a bit early.
Well, I suppose if you think the left-hand sides can last the 22 minutes. Yeah, he ran by 8. They've placed them all after 8-9 minutes. Yeah, I mean, that just seems very early. And certainly Balestri didn't do that. And as Matt alluded to in the pre-race show, he was victim of changing his tyres way too often in a recent event. So,
well, Balestri could have set up his gearing so that his rollout and final drive ratio and everything is set for the smaller tyres, possibly.
So the loser from that first round of tyre stops, Robert Peach, he's dropped back to 6th. Behind Groskamp, who is ahead of Kurzberg, who'd overtaken, is now 3 or so seconds ahead of him. In fact, Kurzberg is catching up this Griner-Gruber train. So the Griner-Gruber train, Griner, of course, has got past Gruber, so Griner now in 2nd, Gruber in 3rd. That changed last lap, sorry. And Balestri still leading, but then behind them you've got Kurzberg. If they go round the loop there, there's Kurzberg flying through in the orange and the red machine.
So we're coming up in the 33-minute mark remaining. The next time around, we might see Dario come in again, and we'll see what he does.
About 25%, about 25% done. About a quarter of the way through this one. So really, right at the beginning, Kurzberg comes in. This fuel only should be up, down, bang. Yeah, it is. Up, down, bang. I think that was Peach behind him as well. I'm not going to bet the house on that one, though, from the distance of the camera. So Kurzberg stopping relatively early. He's not stopping actually on the 12 minutes, but they have a bit of flexibility here because 44 minutes. None of them, can they make 45 minutes, or are they working for 44 minutes and an extra stop for this 4-minute run?
So past the 33-minute remaining mark, and Dario still hasn't gone in.
Yeah, my guess is that Dario is. I'd be surprised if he doesn't take tyres this time round. Let's pick up Dario. He should be just coming through the infield.
Yeah, he's in the pits now.
Let's take the pit shot of Dario. Is he taking any tyres?
Peach is just being retrieved by a marshal.
Okay, we've lost Peach. Where's Balestri gone? There's Balestri out. No, that's Groskamp, isn't it? But doesn't matter. Keep going. Stay with the car you're with. Let's wait for him to cross the line. So Balestri's missing officially.
Gruber's gone in and come out.
Still missing. And so Balestri did 25.9. That's a standard pit stop. So unless he did the world's fastest tyre change, he didn't change tyres that time. Grider's a 19. Peach, unfortunately, has, as you say, well, he's not really tired, but he's out of the running. He's had a problem, so bad news for Robert. He will not be winning at the European Championship in 2023. So it's Balestri from Griner from Gruber. Balestri's lead is 7.8 seconds, so it's slightly more than it was. To Gruber, it's gone up to 9. So certainly at the moment, Balestri's got the pace.
Gruber's just coming in. So I was mistaken. I thought he had gone in, but he's just for fuel.
That's interesting. That's dropping him back quite a bit.
He's behind. He's the next car behind Dario on track.
Gruber had a problem the previous lap. Gruber had an issue on the previous lap, so I think Gruber may have been just checking that. May have had a body tuck or something, because that's out of sequence for him. So he's come in out of sequence, and that's why he's now dropped to 20 seconds behind Balestri from being with him. So Balestri now leading by 10 seconds. This is Gruber on screen, struggling a tiny bit. He crosses the line now. Dropped down to 5th. So Balestri leads by 10 seconds from Griner. Kurzberg's keeping him honest, and so is Groskamp. So there's 3 of them, 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th quite close, but Balestri happily ahead. This is Gruber who's in 5th. I think there was definitely a little bit of issues. He's made a virtue out of his problem. He had a problem probably a body tuck, came back out again, sorted that out, and then refueled again. So it's not a complete loss for him, but he is at the moment obviously 20 seconds back, which is the best part of the lap. Actually, it is a lap, isn't it? That car, one car ahead of him is Balestri. So Balestri has
exactly a lap down, basically.
He's lapped all the way round through to Gruber. There is Dario flying up the straight. He's been there before, of course, and it's not always worked out well for him. Balestri, he certainly, you don't see by his own hand this victory disappearing in some ways, but there are many other hands that come down and waft his car off the track, or waft his engines to flame, or break down his suspension, or collapse his differentials and that sort of stuff. So very nervy times at the moment. I'm sure at the moment we're just on a third of the race gone. We've got 15 minutes gone, half an hour to go. My guess is
just
he's
about
quite
to
relaxed.
Kurzbuch.
Yeah, Kurzbuch, I think Dario's is a fuel stop, doesn't he? Because Kurzbuch's gone from being 13 seconds down to 18 seconds down. So I think Dario's probably a little bit running a little bit longer on these individual sequences. Doesn't necessarily mean he'll do one less stop. He's got a nice turn of pace coming out. That's what I thought. So in comes Dario.
We do have a battle for fourth, with Grosskamp being followed very closely by Gruber.
Yeah, fourth and fifth, isn't it? Yes. So where is Grosskamp? There he is.
They're just about to come down the pit straight and around the not hairpin. So Kurzbuch is the bright coloured car, and then they have Gruber just behind them. Yeah.
So we've got Grosskamp, with the white, with the flashes of colour, and behind him is Gruber. He's coming back from whatever that small problem he had about 5 minutes ago was. Through the infield loop. It's not a hairpin, and onto the main straight. Robert Peach, our only retirement so far. Alvaro Fernandez is running 10th, Marco Vidalone 9th, Mirko Slaney 8th, who's doing 7th, Carl Miranda 6th, and the guys we see here, which is Tony Gruber in 5th, Jonas Grosskamp in 4th, and Simon Kurzbuch in 3rd. But Balestri is stretching his lead quite effectively, to be honest. He's gaining a couple of tenths a lap. And you can see his gain. You can watch him gain on those numbers that are in the top right of the screen. 9.6 seconds in the lead last time around, and it will probably just eke out another tenth of a second. 9.7. It's been the whole way. He's been a tenth or 2/10 of a second a lap faster than all those following him, be it Gruber, be it Griner.
Gruber's in the pits.
As Gruber rolls down, is this just going to be fuel? Yep. 18 minutes in, no need to do anything else. Flops down the runway and off and running. So Balestri just done an 18.9.
Yeah, and he's just lapped Gruber again as he pitted.
Now, what is Griner doing? 19.1. Kurzbuch 19 flat. Actually, no, 19.1 actually, 100. Grosskamp 19. So yeah, they're very much of muchness, but always a tiny bit, a tad quicker is Dario Balestri. So there's a bright orange car now in between, which I assume is Alvaro Fernandez. It's a lap down, I think, isn't it? That's the Fernandez car, the orange car in between the two of them. And we've also got Verdeling there in the green machine, or the Tiffany machine, as it would be called by Frank, because he does love his mass-produced American jewellery. I heard that you're a big fan of Audrey Hepburn. Which one is it?
I just wanted to use something other than Bianchi cycling green or Seafoam green, which were the only ways I could describe it previously.
That's two greens I would have. Bianchi cycling green, blimey.
Yeah, if you're familiar with cycling, you know what that is,
yes,
but most people aren't.
Yeah, I know it's cycling. Well, no, if you're cycling, you get on the bicycle and you pedal. That's cycling. What you're saying is that if you're familiar with team cycling like the Tour de France.
Yeah. Grosskamp and Gruber are really, really close. Going down the pit straight now.
There we are. That was a beautiful change of cars there by Jude. Nice one. So there is your 4th and 5th. Back up to the infield, now down here. The Omega, the gain that's been made by Gruber is like probably about a couple of hundredths a lap. And the biggest problem with that is you get into a rhythm and then you get to keep breaking that rhythm for a fuel stop. So Groskamp in 4th as we get to 25 minutes, 20 minutes down, 25 to go.
Dario is in.
So here's Balestri going to have a long one. Is he going to change tyres? We're not quite to halfway. This is the halfway house, so this one or the next one, isn't it?
They are changing tyres.
All 4?
I couldn't see. They kept them pretty, like, there's a lot of people in the way in the pit lane.
Okay, we'll have a look. I'll see when you go across the line, see what his lap time is. He's officially 35 seconds, so he's on a 4 tyre change. So a 4 tyre change for Balestri there just before halfway.
Tirone being retrieved off the track.
So we need to see what his lead. Yeah, his lead's now 0.3 of a second. So we need to find Griner, who's right on Balestri's tail. So we need to move forward
towards the finish line now. Going through the S's.
There we go. So Griner now on worn tyres against Balestri on new tyres, which will take 2 or 3 laps to come in. I'm sure because they can't pre-run them because of the rules where they have to be kept in a plastic bag away from everyone. So the first time I've seen those tyres is at the start of this final. So Balestri now has to get down, power on. He's got a completely different gear ratio than he had when he came off for his pit stop because his tyres are much bigger, so they'll be reacting slightly differently. The handling will be all off. And this is where the real skill comes in because basically he's driving a completely different car about 5 laps before the thing settles back down again into that kind of core period in the middle where it's very similar. Griner effectively unwinding a stagger, but Griner will need to do a complete tyre change at some point. Now, will Balestri just do at some point later in the race, just do a right side tyre only? Can't see him do. He obviously isn't going to do 2 complete changes because there's only 23. He changed on 24 minutes to go. So after 21 minutes. So that's the tactics. Griner not really making any impression on Balestri because he's a couple of tenths slower again.
The battle for 2nd, 3rd and 4th has just come into the pits.
3rd, 4th and 5th is the battle.
Well, Griner,
Groskamp and Gruber. Yeah, Griner's on his own in 2nd, chasing down Balestri. It's Kurzberg, Groskamp,
not Griner, sorry. Lots of G's.
There's a lot of G's and a lot of cars painted in similar colours and a lot of action going on. It's a hot day and everyone's really trying to keep up with what's going on, and what they're seeing at the moment is an absolute masterclass from Balestri. Yeah, I know he's only leading by a second, but he's got half a pit stop and a whole set of tyres in hand over Griner. Now Griner of course has changed his outside tyres, but he hasn't changed the inside one, so currently his left hand side tyres will be running for 23 minutes and they are doing some of the work. For example, around this next corner they do. So to do that corner they do some work, and they also doing some work here around the not hairpin. And then you start pushing hard on your right hand side tyres, especially at this point where the car's doing about 80 miles an hour. They throw it into corner again for that ever tightening left hander as they go across timing and scoring. And the lead again, half a second extra. But Balestri pulled half a second on Griner in that last lap. So really looking quite good. I think Griner may have. Is Griner pitted? Or did I just miss him? No, I missed him. He's still out on track. Yeah, he's dropping away.
He's pitting now.
Right, so is he doing tyres? Because his car dropped right off.
He must be. Yes,
yeah,
they're doing tyres.
Yeah,
all 4 tyres.
All 4. Yeah, so that weird that it's outside. So yes, that faded badly. I reckon he did that 2 laps too late because he lost half a second on both those last 2 laps, and before he was losing 0.1 or 0.2. And as he comes over, a 4 tyre stop has cost Griner 33. He actually did a 4 tyre stop and the lap 1.5 seconds faster than Balestri did some time ago, but it doesn't really matter when you've lost a second in the previous 2 laps by not doing it earlier. So Gruber now moves into 2nd, Griner is in 3rd, Kurzberg is in 4th, Groskamp 5th. Only those top 3 are actually on the lead lap. I think it may have changed. Balestri may have just there. Balestri's in fuel, so a couple more got back on the lead lap again. Balestri's just come in for a standard fuel stop. As they go this way, that's Griner. That's your third place man. Going across the line now. So Balestri has a 4-second lead over Gruber. That's probably pretty much the lead. Perhaps you'd say that he's got another second or so of fuel. So after 25 minutes, I'd say that Gruber's a bit closer than you thought he would. I think Gruber's actually had a quite different strategy, isn't he? He went out of sync due to the problem he had about minute 10 or 11. There is Gruber going down the main straight. So where is he in his fuel strategy phase? Because he's managed to kind of sort of come back. My guess is he stopped and took an extra stop, and where he is on the tyre run, I don't know. But from being quite a long way out of it, if you come through this part of the race, this part of the stagger unwinding, 19 minutes and 20 seconds to go, 25 minutes gone, he is the nearest challenger to Balestri, 5.5 seconds behind, and running again about 0.1 of a second slower than the Italian. So Gruber looking to do the double of the EFRA IC Track Championships, having won the 1/10 in Sicily a few weeks ago. And in doing that, he'll be trying to emulate the man behind him, Dominic Griner, who won them both last year. In he comes to pits. Okay, let's take him through the pits to see what happens. Is he tiring up, or is he just fuel? Nope, his tyres as well. So he was slightly out of sync due to that earlier problem. Now, interestingly, he's only got 18 minutes, and he theoretically he should need to change tyres, Frank, because they're all doing 20 minutes on the same set of tyres, weren't they?
Yeah, it seems like it. Just trying to keep track of the times a little bit to try and figure out what everybody's strategy's been.
Well, I think that it's those very early right side tyre changes were odd, and I don't think were actually. I can't see the reason behind it, because they didn't sit in a particularly good point as far as the run plan was concerned. I mean, I'm sure someone will sit down and school me about why it was a brilliant idea. In the intervening time, Groskamp's unfortunately had a problem, and he's dropping out. He's missing, and he's now 3 or 4 laps down. We've lost Tironi as well. Vitalin's coming back from a problem. So basically, Peach and Groskamp are out. Tironi's effectively out, though he is still running. Groskamp's running again, but he's effectively out. So the car, a lot of people are doing laps. But the only people who are still there or thereabouts, it's Balestri, Griner, who's 3/4 of a lap down, Kurzberg's just over a lap behind, and Tony Gruber, who does have a brand new set of tyres and a full slurp of fuel, but he is a lap and a bit down on Balestra, 25 seconds, which is 1 lap and 6 seconds. So at the moment, Dario's sitting pretty, but we've seen this so many times in the past, haven't we, Frank, where it's all been going well for Dario until it doesn't.
Yeah, and that's the nature of what's basically endurance racing, isn't it? So as you've seen many times on the full size tracks, comes down to the last couple of fuel stops and sometimes the last minutes of racing action.
You can't take anything for granted, because they are so highly tuned. They're running long. At any moment, something.
Dario was in for fuel.
So Dario's taking fuel, which should put Griner back onto the lead lap. He's only
Griner is immediately behind him on track now. Oh, sorry, Gruber.
Yeah, he's a lap down there.
Oh, okay.
He's exactly a lap down. We're watching Griner now at the moment with the bright pink machine. Griner's reduced that gap, or will reduce that gap, to about 12 seconds this time around. As we enter 16 minutes or so to go. Yeah, it goes to 12.6. Kurzberg's 14.2. Gruber's still that lap behind after he's picked up fuel. That goes down to exactly a lap now at 19.4. Mirko Salimi coming through as the best of the rest in 5th, and then Carmen Riola, and then Tironi recovering from his flame, and then others had trouble, which is Fernandez and Verdeling and Groskamp and Peach. So let's see if we can see. Drop back 1 to Kurzberg, who's that's the orange and yellow. He's trying to make an impression on Griner for the second step in the podium. Honestly, it's not working at the moment. There's a lot of cars that are very similar. Actually, you say that, you're going 2/10 that time round, comes in for fuel. 15 minutes to go, we'll have to stop 3 more times. But we are getting right into the business end of this 1/8 IC Track Euros 2023, brought to you by X-Ray and Lens Bodies, and of course by the wonderful people at EFRA, RC Motorsport for Europe, from the fabulous Vila Real circuit in Portugal, just about an hour or so from Porto, where the local populace are enjoying top-class RC action and a beer. So what more could you want for? Now, I'm sure some are having wine and some are having soft drinks, but for me, top-class RC action and a beer is what we need. Balestri 13 seconds ahead, Frank.
Yeah, I can vouch for the copious amounts of white wine enjoyed by the locals. Definitely. At lunchtimes, dinner times, and, well, you know, I'm sure some enjoy it for breakfast, but, you know, probably not the smartest thing. But yeah, I do love the white wine.
Was getting very close to Gruber there, but that was because Gruber was kind of on his pit strategy. Griner and Balestri are beginning to are matching times. The only problem is that Griner's 13 seconds behind. And you can't match times if you're 13 seconds behind with 14 minutes to go. You need to be gaining really about a third of a second a lap if you're going to catch up without some unforeseen circumstance jumping in. Over the 2/3 mark in this race, as the sun beats down in Vila Real. This is Dominic Griner, who's very happily on his own. Let's see if we can find our leader. Where's Dario gone to? Where's he?
He is. He's just in the infield, about to come onto the pit straight now.
There we go. So Dario picks up the baton, as you can see on there. It's Balestri from Griner, from Kurzberg, from Gruber, but at the moment none of them are particularly close together. Griner's made a little bit of improvement over the last couple of laps. He's gained about a couple of tenths. There has to be a point, I would guess. So is Griner just coming for fuel? I think Griner must just coming for fuel. I think is that him right in front of Dario? Yeah, so you've now got first and second right on your screen together. Unfortunately, it's second and first. So Dario was almost lapping
for fuel.
Rhino comes with fuel. This is one of the track point. Is the engine still running? Yes, it is. Away he goes. Clutch is still working. He's got Marco Vidling in front of him. He's got Carmine Raiola behind him. Both obviously are laps behind. And Dario and the Infinity blast around in front of the pit straight again, and he has 12.5 minutes to go. Now obviously the back markers are being, they know what's going on. These are very experienced racers. They've always been asked to move out the way, and they have done that. So Griner actually in that pit stop sequence gained about 1.5 seconds, so it's now down to 11.1. So my guess is because Dario's team are absolutely built and bracing the whole thing, because they've got this cushion, that Griner, on camera now in the bright pink machine, has lightly edged towards, in fact in many ways Kurzberg is also lightly edging towards him. So second and third, their separation, there's a flash of yellow behind, that is Kurzberg. That separation second and third, which was something in the region of 7 seconds, is now down to 3. Griner gained another 2 tenths on Balestri that time round, so it's 10.8. He's gone below 11 seconds. This time round, what happened? Nope, it's gone back out again. So you can't do that, Dominic. You have to gain every single lap. You can't lose a tenth when you gain 2 tenths. Kurzberg, actually, Griner, that Griner-Kurzberg gap's gone back up again. Kurzberg is in the... What's happened is because it's a 45-minute race and they do 4-minute runs, the fuel stops are now getting to be very different times, aren't they, Frank? Because they've got this kind of spare one they have to play with, which can be anyone during 3 minutes. So people are coming in all sorts of odd periods at this point. I think they're all now 2 from the end, 2 stops from the end, and you've got quite big separation.
Yeah, for sure. You're following it better than I can, to be honest, but it's we are getting to the sharp end, and the main differences between the pit stops certainly going to make a huge difference at the end of the race. I think Griner's about to come in. I see Tilo with his hand out. Here comes Griner.
Well.
Oh, he's made a mistake in the pit lane. He's spun around.
Has he hurt it? Has he hurt it?
No.
It
was in the pit lane. It was fine.
He did tuck the body. They've untucked it. I don't know. There's a problem there.
Oh, he's gone straight. He's in the AstroTurf.
No, what's happened is he was noticed by one of the mechanics that he had lost one of the clips on the front of the body shell. So the front left was lifting, and I noticed the mechanic of another team pointed out he lost that clip.
I saw that.
He did that, and then effectively, with these things being so air dependent, the air just got under it, and so it couldn't turn, and that's why he wasn't a runaway. He just had no steering. So that's going to drop Griner well down, 2 laps down.
But Tilo's not even attempting to fix anything. That's it.
So perhaps therefore he's also damaged the front wheel. It may have been a bit of a heavier hit than he thought, and in taking out that, it may be he's broken the mount. If he's broken the mount, there's nothing they can do.
Yeah.
Because you can't have whilst you can get away with it over this badly mounted 12th body, because they're doing 35-40 miles an hour, you can't get away with it on a 1/8 car where it's all about the aero. So that means we will not have the championship retained by Dominic Griner. Very bad luck there for him. And it means that Balestri now has lapped the field and has a 20-second lead. So let's move to our leader, Balestri. Let's see what he's doing at the moment. Where is he on the track? He's about... Was he in the pits, is he? He is. There we go. That's a good time for it.
Just pitted, yep.
So there is Dario, who, due to a combination of some fantastic driving and both Gruber and Griner have had errors. I'm not sure whether Gruber was his own fault or was a unforeseen mechanical. It happened very early on. It happened about 7 or 8, perhaps 9 minutes in. And that means that he's kind of dropped out of obvious contention. Peach had a problem. He dropped out of obvious contention. Griner had obvious contention. And Kersberg, she's 13.5 seconds behind. And I just think that's his pace, Frank. I just don't think he's got the pace at this event that Balestri has, but he could still get the infamous vice champion award.
And I don't know how long Kersberg has been running the Mugen, but maybe he's still getting used to it, or who knows. But not able to mount a challenge. He's actually 1 car behind. He's directly behind Balestri on track now. But obviously,
if it wasn't for that lap gap, the lap difference, this would be a great race, wouldn't it?
Yeah, this right behind each other. This would be it. Yeah.
But this is what I mean. This is really is a kind of a classic 1/8 final, in that it's in many ways it's about finding a pace you can run at consistently and not making any mistakes, and then crossing your fingers. You know, that blistering pace that Dario showed in the Super Pole. It's not what he needs today. It's a completely different skill you need today. We saw it beautifully illustrated by Alvaro Fernandez in the last chance race, where you set your pace eventually a couple of tenths below your maximum, so you can just run lap after lap after lap after lap, and that's all that Dario needs to do for these last 7 minutes. Now he's got this 1 lap lead, give or take the pit stops. Obviously, the hand of fate can still snatch his championship from him. But he has to make sure that it's not the hand on the controller of Dario Balestri that does it.
And who could have counted on Dominic Griner, the defending champion in this category from a year ago, hitting the pit wall and breaking his car?
Well, I think that's a really interesting point there, because I think there's a kind of when you're having to concentrate so hard, it's Griner's really 100% focused on everything. Sometimes you can mentally relax. You don't know you're doing it. You're mentally relaxed when you come into the pits. So I've got to relax. I've got this kind of few seconds, and you lose that hyper focus. And it sounds odd, you think, because the pits you've got to do something different. You've got to come in the pit lane. You've got to turn around. You've got to get the spot. But it's because you know that you're making a stop. Your brain changes. Your rhythm changes. You get out of that rhythm, and you can make that mistake on a pit stop entry. And it's amazing how often you see it. You see it in this sort of classes. You see it a lot in the off-road classes. There's a lot of pit entry and pit exit mistakes in the off-road classes by very, very good drivers. I mean, normally they get away with it because the cars don't break, of course, they're so much tougher, but they do lose time. And it's because you suddenly got your mind out of the, I'm in this rhythm for the track, and now I have to do this. But that's what happens.
Yeah, certainly. And just to illustrate how much the challenge is evaporated from Griner, Thilo Diekman, his main mechanic and Mr. Jumpstart RC, has come back into the pits and has sat down to watch the rest of the race, and Griner's standing next to his car at his table. So that is
we've lost three. Dominic Griner, Alvaro Fernandez, and Robert Peach have just broken and aren't running. Grosskampen, Vidling, and Tironi, you've all had problems. Have decided to get themselves going again. Another as the penultimate stop for Balestri in this European final is made. So we've only actually had 5 cars run clean so far. And if I'm honest, I think Tony Gruber had a tiny problem in there. But then again, when you've heard a detailed story from everyone, including Balestri, they're all dealing with small issues. But the net effect is that we have a lead of a lap between Balestri and Kurzbuch. Kurzbuch is leading by 10 seconds from Gruber. And Gruber has about 10 seconds or so, I think, over Slaney, who's done a good job for coming out from 9th Mirko. He's kind of quietly climbed the field, making the most of the errors of others. And he's only one more error from another from getting himself on the podium in the European Championship, Frank. Yeah,
and I was just thinking how sort of the positions and the situation has flip-flopped from the 200mm Nitro Touring Car European Championships from a few weeks ago, where it was Balestri in pole and Gruber who won it. Not that we're counting anyone as a winner just yet, but certainly the roles have reversed.
So we're now entering the point where anybody who makes a stop now, it'll be their last stop, 4 minutes to go, so people are getting ready for their last pit stop. Kurzbuch in second place on the screen at the moment, and then behind him it's
just stopping Gruber. Now. Raiola's just come out of the pits as well.
Now Gruber does appear to have got a little bit closer to Kurzbuch, he's 4 seconds behind. I mean, it's not super close. Let's not try and hype it up in a David Croft style. This is the greatest race ever, and when we all know that. Balestri, in fairness to him, has been a little bit Max Verstappen-y, hasn't he? Really, he got to the front, slowly eked away, and just made it look very easy. So I'm not going to try and pretend that anyone's going to challenge on pure pace level, but certainly the second and third, Kurzbuch and Gruber, that's coming down quite rapidly. Actually, another 3.5 seconds. And they are on, there are differing tyre environments. It could be. I think they both have to stop once more. That yellow car
is the car directly behind Balestri, so maybe he's, maybe it's sort of a pacing sort of thing.
Oh no! So Gruber stops. So Gruber stops for the final time in this championship. Well, final scheduled time in this championship. And it'll be interesting to see when Kurzbuch stops. Let's go and follow Kurzbuch for a bit.
He's just coming down the pit straight now.
That's it. There we got him. So we'll see where he gets to. Hopefully he hasn't made his stop, in which case we're following for too long. But I think he probably hasn't. And the lead now is 9 seconds.
2.5 minutes remaining. Could be a splash and dash. We don't know. And here he comes.
Yeah. Yes, he does come. So this is interesting.
And Dario pitting as well.
Right, first and second together. So we'll keep those two in frame, Jude, if you can. As they go round. This would have been the greatest race ever if it wasn't for that pesky lap in between them.
Yeah.
So Dario now has made his last pit stop. So at this point, it's now just down to him to run 6 clean laps. And if he runs 6 clean laps, he will, 6.5 now, he will be the European champion, and he'll win back the title he last won in 2019 in Montbonnon in France, and he also won it in 2014 in Kirchberg. So this will be his 3rd European championship at this scale. And there he is, minute 35 to go. Kirchberg and Gruber only 3 seconds apart, but I think it takes a little bit of a... It's going to take a real problem for one or t'other. Sorry, well, not one or t'other, for Kurzbuch now, for it not to him in second place. So a good return to form for the Swiss driver. I think he'll be disappointed by his pace, but pleased with the result. There's Gruber in 3rd. And I'd be really interested to know, though it may be hard to find out what the problem was. He had about 9 minutes into the race, where he had a 2-second long lap and then immediately went into the pits early. I'm not saying that's going to... That certainly didn't destroy his chances of winning it. I think it may have taken his chance of coming second out.
We'll try to talk to these guys after the races, for sure.
Yep. Okay, it's the last minute, Jude. Let's find our leader. It's all about Dario now for the last minute. There he goes. Balestri, 43 seconds, so he's got this one and 2 more. Though realistically, he only needs to do one of them because he's lapped the field. So Dario Didn't quite get TQ in an epic battle with Tony over the first couple of days, but then showed what he was made of with a dominating performance within the Super Pole, and has led this race, I'm pretty sure, from the halfway round, lap 2, but they hadn't actually completed laps because their first lap is counted off for 6 seconds, so he's about to complete his lap. When he crosses the line now, he's actually European champion, but let's let him do the one final lap. He has a lap on the lead. Dario Balestri looking for will take his third 1/8 IC Track European Championship and cement himself as the preeminent IC track driver in Europe. And what great preparation for the Worlds coming in Japan in November. Your European champion, Dario Balestri. Fantastic result. Second place, Simon Kurzberg. Third place, Tony Gruber. Fourth place, Mirko Salemi. Great result for him. Conbriola is in 5th. Francesco Citroni is in 6th. Julius Goskap in 7th. Marco Verdelang is 8th. They're the ones who finished. Dominic Griner, Alvaro Fernandez and Robert Peach did not make the trip. Frank.
A fantastic race. Obviously, we've got Julie there ready to hand over the trophy, and Matt getting the celebrations. We're going to be swapping over to Matt as soon as we've got a microphone ready for Dario. Dario obviously very happy. Getting back the momentum for the European Championship. So we're going to swap over to Matt as he talks to Dario.
Well, Dario, that was pretty convincing. You won it with a lap above the rest. Plus, what an amazing race for you.
Yeah, in the practice, I was managing the pace because I feel the car was super fast today, even the engine. So I say, I try, and then I try to take a gap. After 5-10 minutes, I managed that gap. Yeah, because we plan to change only one time the tires, so I need to manage the outside the tires flow. But it was a clean race.
Pit strategy, tyre strategy, pleased with the team and how everything went?
Yeah, everything was the best strategy what we make, I think, with only one tyre stop, and but you just need to manage. So that's what I do.
You've been so strong in all these European Championships last couple of years, but some bad luck has haunted you in the finals. You've finally broken the curse.
Yeah, the luck. Turn. Sometimes back, sometimes you lost, but you also need to win a race. So maybe yes.
Any nerves creeping in towards the end that maybe something could go wrong, or will you just get to the end?
No, I just I make a funny thing to my mechanic. I simulated a radio problem in the last 2 laps in the straight. But yeah, was everything worked really good.
Next up, the Worlds.
Next up, the Worlds. So with the new upgrade, we will see. Forza Infinity.
Best of luck. Congratulations.
Good stuff there from Dario. Getting the applause.
Forza Infinity,
yes. And the Worlds, is that the one that's at the Infinity track?
Yeah, in Japan. I think the final is on the 4th of November. So it'd be the week prior to that. So I think they'll be racing from about the Tuesday, the 31st of October, all the way through to the 4th. There is live coverage by our friends at Live RC, so there will be live free coverage of that final. Obviously, time zones aren't brilliant for Europe, but make an effort to see it. So it will be live on the internet, but not with us, I don't think, unless Matt's going to do a thing where we share it. I don't know the broadcast, but you will be able to see it. So yeah, enjoy that. It's always a good race. The Japanese are incredibly good at 1/8 Euro, 1/8 IC racing. So it won't be a foregone conclusion that Dario or any of the Europeans can win, because the Japanese are very, very strong and they'll be at home. So I think it's going to be a great championship as long as it stays dry, because that time of year can be a bit damp in Japan. That's the only problem.
Right. Okay. So I think that brings an end to our live coverage here from Vila Real, Portugal. We hope you all enjoyed it, and check out EFRA.ws if you want to know more about RC racing in your neck of the woods. If you're in Europe, and if you like to be an RCTV hero, check out the RC Racing TV YouTube channel and click that join button and check out all the great benefits so you can see. The main thing is stickers. Also, always love stickers for RC people. And you can also check out rcracingtv.com if you want to get some sweet merch. Don't forget RCTV 10 for a 10% discount off your first order. So there's our official finishing order. Of course, the cars will be inspected. That is the provisional finishing order. But there we go. Dario Balestri, Simon Kurzbuch, Tony Gruber, Mirko Salemi, Carmine Raiola, Francesco Tironi, Yillis Grosskamp, Marco Wiegerding, Dominic Griner, and Calvo Alvaro Fernandez, and Robert Peach, unfortunately finishing 11th. So that was our main final. That is the end of our finals day coverage here in Vila Real. So thank you very much for joining us, and we'll see you next week from Turkheim in Germany for the Electric Touring Car European Championships, and from Starek, Czech Republic, for the large-scale off-road European Championships. Until then, this has been Frank McKinney, followed with Nick Damon from home, Matt Damon in the production booth, and Jude McCallum on the camera. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next week.